Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 10 of Uncle Jackie's Gumbo, the final showdown. Well, here we go, folks. We have vaccines finally out. People are standing in line and getting vaccinated every day. And that's a wonderful thing. It most certainly is. About 1 year ago, the coronavirus first broke out, and people kind of got into a panic. They didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, they shut the whole nation down. Businesses, entertainment places, all across the board. Eventually, they told people that you had to wear a mask, socially separate, wash your hands, as they found out more and more things about this terrible, debilitating disease. It's been 1 year, and now we have 3 major vaccines in the United States that's being distributed. Pfizer, Moderna, and I believe it's Bayer. Or Johnson & Johnson. No, it's Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. So far, I've gotten my first shot, my first Pfizer shot, and the next one is due next week. What I feel and see is more of an optimism in the air, because people were awfully frustrated for a very, very long time. They're doing about, I guess, 1,000 a week or 1,000 a day downtown at the Ernest M. At the Montreal Convention Center. The city of New Orleans is working through Tulane University with the Pfizer, and there's other places that you can go, so that they've extended the ages, and also the numbers are down in terms of people who have, concocted the virus, or who have to go to the hospital, etc., etc. And so we're at what they call a level 3, and that permits more people in restaurants. It's starting to permit music venues, which is wonderful because the musicians suffered so much. And I've talked to people that have gotten their second one. Most people have already gotten their first. Well, a lot of people have had their first and second. I talked to a young physician today, and she and her little group of friends who work together at the hospital, Ashna, they already made a trip to Hawaii. And so that since they're all COVID-free, they could go to the island, and they went to the island and enjoyed themselves and the sun and the fun just like normal. Just like normal. It's wonderful. So there's a big sigh of relief in the air, in the atmosphere, as opposed to like 1 year ago when people didn't know what to make out of this, and then as we progressed in, like 6 months later, then it was like depressing. But what will our future look like? Obviously, we still have to wear masks, socially separate, because except for, I think, one vaccine, you could still be a carrier. But it doesn't seem to bother people much. My sister and her husband, they both got their shots, and they went to Dauphin Island with the best friend, who's a priest, and together they didn't have to wear a mask because each of them were immune to COVID, so they could go and enjoy themselves and have life in the normalcy. And this is terrific. But at the same time, I feel that in order to get a real sense of what the future is going to be like, you have to go by not what you can see, not by what you can hear, feel, or touch. You got to go by your inner spirit, your inner instinct, and then you'll get a sense of what the future is going to be like. Seems those who have been raised doing computers with virtual reality are at the head of the pack. A couple, well, a brother and a sister just bought this new house next door, and they're in their 20s. But I would dare to say that they probably very progressed along the lines of being able to use computers and do business by computers. If you don't have a computer today to be able to maintain yourself with business and make purchases and stuff like that, then you're going to fall to the wayside. I mean, there still is physical labor and whatnot, but you've got to have a computer, and you got to know how to maneuver that computer. The better you are with that computer, the better you are you're going to be with, better off you're going to be with whatever business you're going to go in. That's the future, and it's ironic that because of COVID, we had to lean heavily on computers and virtual reality. So those who were already engaged into the high use of the computer and virtual reality were already set. And so I perceive that our future is going to continue on like that. There's going to be more and more reliance upon virtual reality and the computer. Of course, then people are going to stop and party and whatnot, and to be able to be with their friends. Life is a challenge, but it appears that we're getting closer and closer to the end of this COVID. I mean, relatively speaking, New Orleans is pretty much ahead of the pack. Louisiana is ahead of the pack because, like, we're pushing so much to get vaccination. I think that's because of the Cedric Richmond, the connections we have in Washington with the president. Cedric Richmond's going to be on the president's staff. He's from New Orleans, and so we're getting like pretty much first dibs of all of this vaccine, which is really excellent. Which is very, very wonderful. How can you find your niche? How can you find your way in this brave and strange new world? If you had already been, it's going to sound redundant, but if you had already been, doing business along with the computer and communicating with other people and doing businesses with the computer, then you're all set. For other people, it's a strange and brave new world. I know I'm trying to get orientated toward it, and it's very, very awkward for me. I'm 65, semi-retired, and I'm not a computer whiz. I have a working knowledge of computers, and one of my neighbors gave me an old computer. I have to take it to a coffee shop so I could get online. But if I had one of these quick little laptops and then had been studying computers since I was a little kid, then I'd definitely be way ahead of the margin. As it is, our world is ever changing. Things. I'm trying not to be political, but you really can't avoid it. So, little harmonica on this note, changing shifts here. We have to find a way to be persistent in our value of life. We have to find a way to be persistent in our value of life. So, there's been this big old push to get the vaccine out so we can maintain our society. And as if you heard me in episodes in the past, I've talked about the cockroach and the dinosaur and human beings. There are a lot of things today in the United States that are not in favor of life. And it's kind of dark, you know. So we're pushing for these vaccines to save people's lives, but at the same time we're doing things that are not promoting life, and kind of like bending the rules toward the perspective of you know, life coming to an end without really big to-dos about it. I don't know if this is going to be my last broadcast or not. I don't have the COVID, but I got an internal organ sickness and not eating properly. I went to a party the other night, and everybody noticed how much weight I lost. And this was a scary venue for me because I knew I was losing weight, but I didn't think I was losing that much weight. But apparently, some people kind of found it shocking. In fact, a different friend at a supermarket I bumped into the other day, he says, I had to look twice to see if it was you, because you lost so much weight. Are you sick, you know? Well, initially it looked like I was like contracting acid reflux, and my doctor wrote down this list of things that I could eat and not eat. And I started following a strict diet according to that, without the objective of losing weight. But apparently, let's see, this is March the 16th now. Yesterday was the Ides of March. Thrills. We're going to get a little harmonica tune on that. As Shakespeare said in Julius Caesar, beware of the Ides of March. And it was in March that Julius Caesar got assassinated by Brutus and Cassius and other senators. No, I'm not well. And I had to go to the urgency care the other day because I was severely constipated, and last night was the first night that I had really, really good sleep. And I guess it's just so that I could be conscious and aware of what I'm doing. I'm in pain tonight because that constipation's returned, and I don't know how far it's going to go in terms of affecting all the organs. My time on this earth might be limited. It sounds pessimistic and whatnot, but I mean, it's the middle of the night, and I'm looking at old photos that I took years ago of events that happened, wonderful things like the construction of my house and various church gathering events that were very positive and upbeat when I was happy and jolly and a little bit on more a plump side. But since January to now, I've lost 40 pounds, and like I said, I was at this party the other night, and a nurse who is like in the neighborhood noted how much weight I lost, and so two nurses chimed in and said, yeah, he lost a lot of weight, you know, and so they, all of a sudden it was like Razoo on Jack, man. It was like everybody was like making different statements and whatnot. Somebody said, are you on cocaine, or, you know, whatever, and it was like terrible, absolutely terrible. So, in the words of Martin Luther King, you know, like that new world that our society is going to post-COVID, I may not get there with y'all, in the words of Martin Luther King, to the promised land, because the promised land is coming, and the numbers are going to get down. At least I hope they do across the United States, across the world. This devastating biblical blow, I guess you would have to say. It's just of the coronavirus just really set our whole society back. Who would ever think that we would reach the day when all of Broadway would be closed? Now, all of these venues have like done alternatives, produced a play on video, and but the day's coming when I feel that the Broadway's going to open up again, because nationally the numbers will be down. Now I don't know if we'll see the days when conventions will happen again in New Orleans. Businesses are changing the tune. They're not doing conventions. I mean, you could do a convention online. You know, show your wares to everybody else, and exchange commerce and industry and ideas like that. So I don't know if you know, a convention is a wonderful thing, of course. You know? And in New Orleans, being a tourist town, right by the Mississippi River, that would bring thousands and thousands of people. I mean, you know, we would have 25,000 people in New Orleans for a convention, and it would be overflowing to all the restaurants. Everybody was making money. Everybody was making money. You know, that particularly people in the restaurants, and the people that you know, had bus services and food services, and they move people around by the buses and have events would go from early morning to night. Absolutely wonderful. But all that got shut down. So, again, getting back to what our future is going to look like. You can't perceive it with your senses. You got to go by what you can't see, by what you can't touch, by what you can't smell. It's an instinct type of thing. It's more or less a spiritual thing, I guess you would have to say. And so I wish everybody well with that. You know, focus, say your prayers to God. There is a God, believe me. For some people who are Jewish, they believe directly to God the Father, you know, and then we have Christ Jesus, who is Jewish, who shows us how to get to God, and some people say God Himself. It's you know, I believe that Jesus is the Lord, but everybody else might not see it that way. However, connect to God, and connect to other people, and find your center in, and focus. And once you have this connectivity to God and to others and to the universe, then you can find your place in the universe and find your place in society. All of a sudden it happens, bam, you know, and then you can move forward. And we're moving into another era. It's an era of something totally different. You have to deal with it's calling for tolerance, but at the same time, you know, tolerance has to do with dealing with issues and whatnot. You know, but nobody should be forced to. No one should be forced to feel or think or perceive something in a way that they disagree with. That's what I feel. You know, nowadays it's like, if you're not politically correct, if you're not toting the line in terms of agreeing with the rest of society and how they perceive things, then you're out of it, man. You know, you're out of it. So the thing about it, hold your own. You know, whatever your perspective is, whatever your own thoughts are, whatever your own personal feelings are, those are precious. Don't sell out. Don't sell out. Now, does that mean that, you know, you're going to hate everybody? No. It just means you're going to be tolerant. They're going to be tolerant. And you're different. Everybody's different, you see. But here nowadays in our society, they're trying to, like, you know, make everybody the same, and everybody's not the same. You know, we've got to do whatever we can to preserve our individuality. And even though people are different, we need to learn how to, you know, give and take and share and tolerate. But in our society, it's calling for non-tolerance. It's like, you know, join the pack and everybody be the same. Well, that isn't going to work. That's going to lead to that's going to lead to a weakness, because it's when you have differences and you have to work out these differences and you have struggle that builds strength. Because in the United States we've always had differences, but we've always been able to unify despite our differences. And so when you unify despite people's differences without selling out your own individuality, and you make agreements, and it's agreements of tolerance. You might not agree with another person, or with another person's perspective and how they look toward life, but at the same time you can agree to disagree. Now that's an old idiom. However, it's very important. I can't stress that enough, how important it is for each person to maintain their own individuality. At the same time, maintaining the individuality, learn how to mesh with the group. You got to mesh with the group, but you mesh with the group by maintaining your own individuality and using tolerance instead of selling out and just going along with the group. So, on that note, I think I'm going to be signing off for right now. Hope everyone continues to stay safe, say your prayers to the good Lord, to God, and aim for connectivity to God and others, and maintain your individuality. I can't stress that enough. At the same time, learn how to be a group player without selling out your individuality. That's what I'm trying to say. And so, on this note, then we're going to be signing off, and we're going to end with the traditional ending of Uncle Jackie's Gumbo. I have no recipe for this week because food has been an issue for me that's not good right at this particular time, because I'm not eating good enough. I eat one major meal every day, and in the morning I eat like yogurt and banana, and at nighttime I'll have banana and yogurt and maybe oatmeal in the morning. And so I wish everybody well. God bless you and all the best for the future. And so here's our traditional ending with the Roy Rogers, Dale Evans song, Happy Trail. Let's see if I remember the words. One more sound from the little harmonica friend, the smallest harmonica in the world. Hopefully we'll do some more recordings in the future if I get find my way out of getting out of this sickness. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Doesn't really matter about the weather. Everything is fine so long as we're together. Happy trails to you till we meet again. God bless y'all. Take care. This is Uncle Jackie. Love y'all. God bless you. Take care now.